Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Chris Seibert Show. This is officially, with a capital O and officially, week number 6. It's literally been almost 2 months since we've been doing this consistently with an episode coming out on Friday. Can you believe that? It just blows my mind. But anyways, guys, welcome back. Thank you as always. We're gonna kick things off with, of course, the analytical data to begin. So, what a week it's been. In the past 7 days, talking about, loving. I just enjoy sharing the stats and kind of the data behind the previous episode. So for week 5, get this, we had 3 total downloads through either Apple Podcast or Spotify. But in terms of YouTube views, there was 10 total YouTube views. That's massive. So altogether, 13 different people listened to episode 5 up to this point in time, or watched episode number 5. So that's awesome. Referring back to welcome to my weekends, you guys know in last week's episode on week number 5 how I was super excited about going boating. First of all, great experience. We're going to be talking about that here very shortly. But that video currently has 16 total views, 3 likes, and in this past week, I've gained a subscriber. So I'm now officially up to 120 subscribers, which is huge. Huge. I cannot thank you guys enough for, sticking around, watching, liking, commenting, subscribing, all of that jazz, to be honest. It means a lot, and I could go on forever. The way I look at my content, and I will probably say this if I haven't said this so many times already, I'm not really like the most creative, I wouldn't even say most. I'd just say like a good editor. I'm just a normal person who decided to take this path of doing videography and video as a profession, which is what I do as a full-time career, and just have translated this into making my own content. And even though my life is just, here and there, it's amazing for you guys to stick around, watch this stuff, listen to this stuff. It just makes me super happy, and I hope it's providing at least some type of positive value on your life. I mean, that's what I'm really trying to get out of it. But again, I just want to thank you guys from the bottom of my heart. Those numbers are amazing, especially growing a subscriber. It's kind of funny because, your first 1,000 is going to be your hardest. And once you've reached that 1,000 subscriber mark, this is when you get to have YouTube kind of do a little bit of an investigative look into your account to see if you can get monetized. And then once you're approved and verified for monetization, you begin to start making AdSense on your videos, which would in turn get reinvested back into the channel, back into the stock market, into other things that will continue to make this channel just blossom and grow, and you guys get to just watch it unfold. So again, thank you from the bottom of my heart for everything that you guys do. It just makes me happy and means the world to me. So getting into the first thing, personal life. What has happened in the life of Chris the last 7 days since I last talked to you guys last Friday? The first thing, obviously, I want to talk up, and we just brought it up a little bit ago, was my boating experience. I haven't been boating in a very, very long time. I want to say it was about 2 years ago was the last time I was on a lake on a boat and just got to enjoy that kind of moment, have some drinks, be with friends, chit chat. Well, this past weekend, I got to do it again. And I want to share not so much the whole weekend, because if you're really curious, you can go back and look at the funny clips and like the montage I made of Welcome to My Weekends, where you kind of got to see a fun side of it. But from a motivational standpoint, nothing inspires me really more than being in a setting such as a lake, in a city. I will even go in depth and explain, I guess, here in a little bit, maybe even about just being in a room full of people higher up, people who you value and respect and want to be at. How it's just fascinating. And so I'm going to try to do my best to explain this to hopefully not throw you guys off. But while I was at the lake this past weekend, it was so just inspiring, because as you're riding this boat in a lake, you see all of these lakefront, beautiful I would say anywhere from 750,000 to potentially even up to 5 million, these lake houses that were just stunning. And for me, my lifelong dream, and when I know I've made it, is when I have my own lakefront property, a beautiful home with my family that we get to go and enjoy boating on the weekends per se, or have host parties where we have our friends come over and their kids. Oh, it's just so beautiful. But sitting back on a boat and just looking and thinking, I want to be there. What did they do that got them this house? What do they do as a career right now that allows them to pay for this property? Are they retired? Are they young? Are they my age? What is it that got them to this point? What pushed them? What inspired them to get a lakefront property, be on a lake? As I sit in and I don't know if everybody does this, but as I just sit back a lot of times, I just look around, because for me, it might be kind of really horrible to say this, but I feel like I'm not supposed to succeed. I'm supposed to just kind of go day to day, like a 9 to 5, really not push myself. Like, I feel like just in life, you have to be in a special place to have luxurious things like that. And me being me, as I'm sitting down on this boat and looking at all these properties and just like looking at them, I'm like, how am I going to get there? What am I going to do? It's the same thing, say I'm driving, and my car's very nice, but I got a 2011 Mazda 6. It's a beautiful car. I call her Beverly, named after Beverly Hills. But I'll be on at 65, so this is a major highway in Indiana, and it cuts all the way down south through Alabama. But, as you're driving and as I commute to work, generally most days, I'll see Teslas. I'll see maybe a couple Porsches here or there, depending on what area. If I'm on the north side of Indy in a nice place, I'll see a Maserati. I might even see a Ferrari or Lamborghini, And as I'm just driving my regular average Mazda 6 car, I just can't help but look and think to yourself, or to myself, like, wow, like, what did you do to get that? How did you do it? Do you own a business? Do you own multiple businesses? Do you invest in stocks? Like, what got you that vehicle? What inspired you to get to that vehicle? What pushed you and made you to get to that vehicle, or I guess purchase that vehicle? It's just, to me, putting yourself in a situation and kind of seeing like the big grand scheme of things and thinking about, I want that. How am I going to get there? What do I need to do to make sure that I have that? What am I not doing that I need to begin to do to get to that point, if that makes any sense? So going back and talking about where I was in a meeting with, this was here recently before the pandemic, but I'm the video production specialist at the company I work for, the power tool company Festool. Our U.S. headquarters is in Lebanon, Indiana, and that's where I work. I work in our marketing department. But before we came out with our cordless line, this was like way before anybody knew that we were coming out with these products. I had to create, and it wasn't a big, like what you'd think presentation, but I had to create a couple slides of pretty much a mock-up concept of what I'm going to be filming, on what products, and all of this. And that way we're going to use my videos, or I guess the videos that I shoot, record, and edit with, what platforms they're going on, what's the demo, target, all of this stuff. So I had to prepare this presentation on specifically this. And then in a meeting, I had to present this to my boss, the VP of marketing, the VP of sales, who runs this country with all of different regional sales managers. I had to present it to the VP of customer service and logistics. I had the CEO of the company for the United States headquarters was in there. So yes, where I work isn't like what you would consider some big, like major headquarter location, like say Apple or something. I mean, we're a lot smaller than that. But in the grand scheme of things, a lot of these people who are older and higher up in this office room with me per se, who is about to turn 25, is very nerve-wracking. But at the same time, it's extremely motivational, because this is when I get to get up in front of people and tell them not my story, but say, listen, this is the game plan. This is what we're going to do. This is how we're going to do it. This is where we're going to post it. And, when you take a step back and just sit down and see, man, like, I want to be there. Like, this is so cool. How did you get here? I hope that this is kind of like flowing together and going in the right way of saying things. But just ultimately where I'm really trying to get at was, it was so therapeutic and motivational to just be at a lake this weekend, seeing all these beautiful properties, being with some of my closest and best friends, and having some drinks and just thinking, man, I'm so young. I can see where I want to be at, and being here right now, knowing that in the future, this will be me with my family, my friends, like this is just really, it is just inspiring. But ultimately, breaking away from that, this past weekend was so much fun. Bryce and I were talking about just, again, I talked about him prior, and you saw him come on to Welcome to My Weekends and kind of just have like the mock-up interview segment. But again, just we're really, really excited for what's to come and what's on the horizon for the both of us here in Indianapolis, where I live and where he will be moving into the same apartment. And it's such just a fascinating time, how hungry we are, how excited we are, and just going back and forth talking about content and how it's cool and it's fun. But it was a great weekend seeing Ryan. I haven't seen Ryan in an extremely long time. Seeing Scott, who I have not seen in forever. It had to be probably over 2 years ago since I've seen Scott, and his awesome fiance Peyton. It was just a great weekend, and we had a lot of drinks, we had a lot of fun, and I will be back with them from what it sounds like again on Independence Day, July 4th. We will be at the lake to watch fireworks. So overall, just can't wait to see him again and have a great time, and just how motivational it was. It's just awesome. Made me hungry. I love when I'm hungry. It makes me want to try harder. So I'm recording this on Thursday. I always record this on Thursdays, but yesterday on Wednesday, I decided not to live stream. You know what? I was just sitting back thinking to myself, like, hey, you've been consistent. You've tried to live stream just about every Wednesday unless something pops up. And I think it was like 2 or 3 weeks ago, I ended up not live streaming because I went to go get dinner with my mom and sister. But I'm just kind of on the fence about this whole live streaming thing. I don't have, I would say, enough viewership yet to really take live streaming seriously. Like, yeah, it's great, but I know a majority of my subscribers. I don't have a big enough subscriber base where people, it'd be different if I had, like a couple thousand, because I'd probably have a good show up and we could hang out and talk, and there'd be good 15 to 20 viewers, if that, to where we can talk. But from my standpoint, knowing that I don't really have a big enough audience to reach people at, it's difficult to live stream because I know everybody has things going on. I don't want to pressure anybody to come in and joining, and especially when I'm in the live stream for 30 minutes and no one shows up, it's like I could be using and prioritizing my time better. So I was thinking a lot about that yesterday, just like, I don't really want to live stream tonight, but in the grand scheme of things, I need to start thinking about more, okay, I need to continue doing live stream, or I need to fill my Wednesdays with another piece of content, because I've had this beautiful system or routine going where, generally speaking, it's Wednesdays are live streams, Fridays are the Chris Seibert Show, both a video and podcast throughout, Apple Podcasts and Spotify. And then, of course, on Mondays is the Welcome to My Weekend segment, to where it's kind of just an overview of my weekend, little segments here and there as well. So I've had a pretty good routine of uploading content. But Wednesday, if I decide to stop live streaming for the time being, I need to fill that gap with something and not just go back to having a couple things uploaded a week. We are trying to grow and expand and create an army. And by me, not doing and prioritizing my time properly, it's just kind of a waste. So I want to make sure I stay on top of it. But yeah, this past Wednesday, I decided not to live stream. So I thought about it more too the past 7 days. And once I get my check from the outside client who I did some work with these past couple weeks, I'm going to be spending that money all on gear. I'm going to take a step back from buying the custom PC. Again, in theory, it's a fantastic idea, and I want those items more than ever. But with the way this whole pandemic is kind of getting to a point to where I feel like things are kind of slowing down, in a way, not really, but I feel like I might get a couple opportunities in the near future. And if that happens, I want to make sure that I have the best stuff moving forward. So that way I can produce a great overall product for that client, and then they will refer me back to do more work, or also just through connections of recommendations, I should say, not connections. But it's looking like I'm going to be buying a Blackmagic design pocket cam. It's a 4K camera. I believe that retails around $1,000. A couple Panasonic lenses because those are compatible with the Blackmagic Pocket 4K camera. I am thinking about buying a rig that will attach to the camera, a nice microphone, probably not a lav, but a boom and stand, and then something that can also, well, that might can additionally attach to the top of the rig with the camera, a tripod that's very, very nice, and then maybe just a travel bag. So not a whole lot. Overall, it's going to probably be close to a couple grand, if not a little bit more. But I would rather make that investment over the YouTube stuff. The YouTube stuff will always be here forever. But in terms of making legit money and good money quick and being able to, making money, I'm going to be buying the gear instead. So our next topic for week number 6 is the stock market. Nothing's changed this week. I haven't bought anything. The market has kind of just been, back and forth. Well, at least for my portfolio. I know that Monday we seemed to have a pretty good day, then it kind of crashed again. There's a couple really bad days, I think, like last week where it crashed hard on Thursday or Friday. It was really rocky. But all of my shares, or all of my companies, and not so much companies, but investments are the exact same. Blink, I have 2,000 shares. MFA, I have 900 shares. SPHD is 64 shares. MITT, 320 shares. And EPR is 98 shares. Again, if this is the first time you're listening to this podcast series, I am a long-term investor. I am focusing on, right now, my real priority is kind of REITs, real estate investment trust. I have one ETF and then just one company that's listed on the NASDAQ, and that is Blink. It's an electric vehicle charging company that makes EV charging stations for, say, Teslas or any type of electric vehicle. But in the grand scheme of things, I don't want to sell. And I'm just continuing to add to my portfolio. I do my best to add $25 to $100 bi-weekly. So depending on how the market is, say next week, if it's really, really bad, I'll throw in $100. The following week, maybe I'll throw in 35. I try to at least put in a little bit every single week, but the way things are going, I kind of just want to take a step back and kind of see, because I feel like we will see some repercussions again in the market. I feel like there's going to be a little bit of a crash again, not anything crazy. The stock market's so unpredictable, but I've definitely put in a lot of money in the last couple months, and especially with investing into equipment and gear, things like that, I really want to continue to keep building up my savings and just having a fallback and safety net in case of a worst case scenario. So that is my overall game plan in terms of investing. I want to let you guys know, and for those of you out there that kind of find the stock market interesting, and maybe, when I talk about it, it kind of gives you an incentive to invest. I just found out, and joke's on me because I didn't do my research properly, but I found out that an Roth, ROTH IRA, is essentially kind of like a portfolio of trading. Now, you can go and find a broker. There's other companies out there that allow you to create your Roth IRA through like an app, say. But what's interesting about a Roth IRA is that, say I had $10,000 and I invested it into this Roth IRA. They're going to take that $10,000 and tax it. So I'll be left with $6,000 or $7,000. And then I'm able to buy, whatever I decide to buy, whether it be a mutual fund, bond, stock, ETF, REIT, all that jazz. I can only put into my Roth IRA $5,500 a year total. However, this is the key, and what I found out and what blew my mind, and something that I don't think Robinhood allows you to do, is that in your Roth IRA, by the time you retire, all of that money that you invested is not taxed. They tax it when you put it in, not when you take it out. That is awesome. No one likes taxes. I mean, it's a must, but we don't like taxes. What scares me about the shares and stuff that I own, yes, I'm a long-term investor on Robinhood, and I believe I'm allowed to transfer any of my shares at any point in time, to, say, another type of brokerage account, when I sell those, when I retire or whatever, I decide to sell, I will have to pay a tax on the money that I made through that investment. I do not have to pay a tax if I lost money when I sold the investment. Okay, see where this is going? So yes, a Roth IRA, say I put in 10,000, it gets taxed, and then I'm like, oh man, I'm going to drop in another 10,000 this year. You can't. You can only drop 5,500, and you might have to fact check me about that if you're serious. But this is non-taxable income that you're making in your Roth IRA compared to, say, a stock like Robinhood, the brokerage where I use. And when I decide to sell, even though I don't sell, I'm just continue to keep accumulating with the company as I own and researching on what my next big move will be. I would definitely look into a Roth IRA. It's just my heads up. And as always, stock market's a lot of fun. There's a lot of money to be made right now. Things are kind of cheap. There's some others that are record highs. It's very, very, very volatile. And that's what scares me about. I could see a great repercussion happening where I kind of see a little bit of a sell-off and a fallback. But if you decide to start trading, and by trading I mean investing into stuff, not day or options trading, go at your own risk. But just before you buy anything, make sure it's a company that you fully trust, not because somebody said to invest it or they're invested into it. Do your own due diligence and don't just put your money into some company because you see it's up 50% today. You know what I mean? So just take a step back, do some research, consider it, and just be very, very smart, because I don't want you to make the mistake. And I've made this mistake plenty of times, especially in college when I first started learning about investing. I would buy a company when it was at like up 30%, and then by the afternoon it was down to back to where it was when it opened. So I was down 30% of the money I put in. So just be smart. I know it's risky. I know the market's volatile, but I'm just saying, just think and do some research first. Me, I don't care if things go down tomorrow a crap ton. I'm long-term investing. I don't plan on selling. I'm just going to ride it out and just leave it there. So if things go according to plan, it should continue to keep going up. And these are companies I have right now in my portfolio: 3 REITs, real estate investment trusts, and then 1 ETF, and then just 1 regular stock on the NASDAQ. But these are all companies, investments that I trust, I believe in. So that's why I'm saying that. I just want to give you the heads up. So that's pretty much that for the stock market segment. Moving on to news. We had another jobs report today. Every single Thursday, they've managed to drop one. There's another 1.5 million Americans that have filed for unemployment. That's going to be passing the total to 45 million Americans, I think we are at now, who are without a job and under unemployment. Every time I see this number, I see it in the morning on Thursday, like today, for example. I really just sit back and think to myself, what a strange time. I am so blessed and so fortunate because I'm in an extremely lucky position. I love my job. I have a great job. I'm employed. But I can imagine it's not the same. People who are married with children who are out of work, people are having a hard time getting by right now. And it's just scary. And it seems to keep accumulating week by week with more and more Americans out of work. And will those jobs come back? I'm not sure. But I just wanted to share the jobs report with you guys in U.S. news, or I guess country news, national news. I like that, national news. And then lastly, to close this episode this week, weekly challenge. I am just so disappointed in myself, and I continue to keep saying that, knowing that there's been opportunities where I've had deadlines to do the challenge, but I just haven't done it. It's an excuse, and it frustrates me to no end. This past week was 15 push-ups. I did great on Saturday. Sunday I forgot. Monday I forgot as well. Tuesday I did 30. Yesterday I did none again, and then I don't do any on Thursday. But I'm just doing a really bad job of holding myself accountable. I'm going to backtrack this week, and my weekly challenge is going to be to make my bed every single day. Now, I should be able to do this, and if I can't do this, then I'm going to be pissed. I'm going to take a picture, and I will explain that. I can record a video just showing that the video is done on the Christopher Seibert, my YouTube, Instagram. But I don't know what it is. When I was doing the weekly challenge with off-brand comedians, my really good friends Bryce and Cody, we held each other accountable. So if we didn't do the challenge for say one night or something, then we had to pay. I think at one point it was $5, then it was like $5 every time you didn't do it, so it was more. It forced us to do that, and I think by me just doing this by myself, things come up. I'm here, I'm there, and then by the time I'm done eating dinner, I'm full. I'm like, do I really want to do it? Like, come on. I just need to get in the habit of doing it right away. What I did previously before the pandemic was I would do the weekly challenge in the morning first thing. But with this situation we got going on now, I don't have to be in the office until 8:30. So I get the opportunity of sleeping in. And then by the time I get home after a long day, I'll lay down, get on my phone, I'll get in my bed on my phone, I'll get on my MacBook somewhere, and then it's late, I eat food, and it's just kind of like, I don't want to do this. So no, I need to really get my crap together. So this week I'm doing a very, very easy one. It should be my first week I'm able to complete everything. But yeah, I just need to make my bed, and I'll take a picture or video, like I said, and post it with the hashtag CSWchallenge. But guys, that's really going to wrap up week 6. I know I kind of fumbled and bumbled a lot here this episode. I really hope my point got across about being at the lake house this weekend, because it was extremely motivational. And I really challenge you, if you are still listening to this right now, maybe text that friend, do some, like, what do you not so much aspire to be, but what do you want? You know what I mean? Like, what is the one thing that you want that's going to motivate you, that's going to push you? Is it that Gucci handbag? Is it that Lamborghini? Is it that, I don't know, that beautiful house? Stare at that picture and just sit back and think, what did that person do? Like, what do I need to do to get here, or something like that? It doesn't even need to be materialistic. It's just being motivated and stuff is just, it really makes you hungry. It makes you excited. It makes you want to get after something. It makes you disciplined. It's just such a good little adrenaline emotion. It's a high. It makes you feel good. So I might challenge you to think about that. Do some research, call somebody, look at something, and just see if it affects you at all anyway, because I'm pretty curious. But again, thank you for all the support as always. I cannot stress this enough, how much it means to me when you guys, download this, watch this on YouTube, watch any of my content, like things, subscribe things, comment. I know who you guys are, and it just means the world to me. So thank you. But with that being said, I'm going to end it here. I will be back again with another video on Monday. Welcome to my weekends. And then, of course, Wednesday, with all going according to plan, I should be live streaming, and then I will see you guys for week number 7 next Friday. So with that being said, have a good one, and I will see you guys in the next content.